You're listening to Leaf Filter Radio, and the guru of gutter protection himself, Chris Coonahan, is here to take your most pressing leaf-related questions.
Hey, everybody, Chris here. I understand we have Ron on the line. Ron, where are you calling from?
Uh-oh. Ron, are you calling from a ladder?
Well, I was. I wanted to ask Chris what I need to do to get my gutters ready to have leaf filter installed.
Oh, Ron, you don't have to do anything. A Leaf Filter Trusted Pro will come out and clean out your gutters, realign and seal your gutters, and install Leaf Filter, America's #1 gutter protection system.
So I didn't need to get on this ladder?
Ron, Leaf Filter Trusted Pros are in your neighborhood and ready to help. Just visit leaffilter.com/day to schedule your free gutter inspection and get up to 30% off.
Thank goodness. What was that site?
That's leaffilter.com/day for your free gutter inspection today. See representative for warranty details. Promotion is 20% off plus a 10% senior or military discount. One discount per household.
You are about to listen to the Dr. Daliah Show. Sassy, stimulating medical talk radio. Any medical advice Dr. Daliah Wax gives on her show should not be substituted for an actual visit to your medical provider. And now, here's Dr. Daliah.
1-877-DOC-DALI, 1-877-DOC-DALI. So some of us with allergies are really starting to feel it. So I am really, really excited about our next guest. Asthma and allergy specialist, Dr. Justin Greiwe, is joining us next to talk about this. Dr. Greiwe, thank you so much for joining us.
Thanks for having me.
Awesome. So this is a tough time for those with asthma. Talk to us about why the fall is considered peak asthma season.
We really consider August through December as a critical time of year for the asthma community in the United States due to that heightened exposure to some of those triggers you just mentioned, those seasonal asthma triggers during the fall season, and an increased risk for asthma attacks during that season as well. In particular, the third week of September is what many call asthma peak week, and that's when emergency room visits and hospitalizations for asthma tend to be the highest of the year. And so it's really important that we educate patients to be aware that September is a dangerous month and there's lots of things that can trigger them. And so conversations like this are really important. In that same vein, each fall, the Asthma and Allergy Foundation of America publishes its annual Asthma Capitals Report. Mm-hmm. And this report ranks the 100 largest U.S. metro areas by how challenging they are to live in if you have asthma. And so I would encourage your listeners to take a look at that and see where their city might rank in that list.
Exactly. Yeah, we love discussing that each year because it talks about, based on per capita access to asthma care, the allergens, the local issues, and it's a fascinating list. I live in Southern Nevada, and I have to remind parents multiple times a year that once these kids go back to school, asthma season in the fall can definitely peak and be a dangerous time. So, with asthma, obviously a lot of symptoms. Talk to us about those symptoms.
Yeah, the most common symptoms for asthmatics would be shortness of breath, chest tightness, wheezing, and cough. And these symptoms occur when the airways are both inflamed and when they're tightening. And so it's important to understand that with both of those issues going on, that's kind of what progresses or leads to those asthma exacerbations, with really inflammation driving the majority of those symptoms. And so it's sometimes can be challenging for patients during the fall season to keep that inflammation under control because they're constantly being bombarded by different triggers. And as you mentioned, one big driver is back to school season with close contact and lots of kids in classrooms. They're bringing back respiratory viruses and colds and bacteria back to the home. And if anyone in the home has asthma, that can be a big trigger. You combine that with the hectic sports schedule and homework and everything else going on during the fall season, that can be a big trigger for our asthmatic patients. And then at least in my neck of the woods in Cincinnati, ragweed and mold pollens are big right now. Mm-hmm. If you live in a big city, pollution can be a big trigger. Weather shifts and barometric pressure changes are also something we deal with here. So that's why in collaboration with AstraZeneca, we're really working to raise awareness for this asthma peak week and really encourage people to be proactive about their health. So we encourage your audience members to talk with their doctors if they have asthma now, review their treatment plans, and know what to do before the fall season spikes. So, that will definitely help reduce risk for an asthma attack over the next few months.
Exactly. I was very grateful to AstraZeneca, especially with their education they would give with medicines like Symbicort and things like that. Trying to prevent the hospitalizations that happen with asthma is key. And so being proactive is the way to go. Talk to us about some of these proactive steps.
Yeah, so, we talked about some of these triggers that can cause flare-ups. So having a better understanding of what your specific triggers are can be very helpful. So when you see a board-certified allergist like myself, if there's concern for airway allergen or allergic triggers, we can do allergy testing, whether it's skin or blood tests, to look at ragweed and trees and grasses and weeds and dust mites and dogs and all those things. And truly, honestly, getting the correct diagnosis. Not everyone with shortness of breath or wheeze or cough has asthma, and so making sure you have the right diagnosis and the right treatment plan. So seeing these specialists can be helpful to get objective testing, a good clinical history, and the appropriate diagnosis. Asthma is very common. About 22 million adults in the U.S. live with asthma, with nearly 9 million asthma attacks and over 700,000 ER visits linked to asthma flare-ups. So it's very common, but having a doctor or a care provider that can provide expert care is really important, because they can provide the treatment plans and the asthma action plans to keep you out of the hospital, and that's where a lot of these things come together, and where you can really get that great physician and patient relationship.
We're speaking to Dr. Justin Greiwe, asthma and allergy specialist. The anti-inflammatory approach is key. Too often, many of us, even providers, we'll see kids for their sports physicals, and we won't address the asthma until they come in with an asthma attack, or they're already in the sport, and then they have to, take off, from their activity because of, their inability to function respiratory wise. So the benefits of anti-inflammatory rescue approach is key. Any other benefits you'd like to share with my listeners?
Yeah, so anti-inflammatory rescue is a newer approach to treating asthma. So in the past, we've relied on traditional rescue inhalers that work specifically on the tightening of the airways. Mm-hmm. And so when you would give a traditional rescue inhaler, you'd get relief by opening up the airways. It didn't address inflammation. So over time, relying on those traditional inhalers could sometimes leave patients more vulnerable to future attacks because they weren't addressing the root problem, which is the inflammation that keeps on building up over time. So that's where global experts and myself are increasingly recommending what's called anti-inflammatory rescue. And what's great about that is it treats not only the tightening of the airways we mentioned earlier, but also the inflammation. And so the data suggests that reduces risk for exacerbations and keeps people out of the urgent cares and ERs. And so that's really why we're here today, is to really address education, make sure patients are aware of what's available to them currently, and to talk to their doctors about that. And there's some great resources online. If your patients or audience want to dig deeper, sites like modernageofrescue.com have great information about anti-inflammatory rescue strategies. And then organizations like the AAFA we mentioned earlier provide great educational resources and are supporting research to improve asthma care for everyone. So the goal with all this is to just allow asthmatics to have a healthy and happy fall season.
Exactly. I had a relative who was just on systemic oral steroids because his asthma got him was so bad, exacerbated so much. The prevention with the anti-inflammatory approach through inhalers and less, shall we say, oral and systemic options is definitely safer. So, Dr. Greiwe, we really, really appreciate your expertise coming on the show. One more time, where can my listeners go for more information?
The site modernageofrescue.com is a great resource.
I love it. Well, thank you so much. We can't wait to have you come back.
Thanks. Appreciate it. Thanks for having me.
Great. All right, guys, don't go away. We'll be right back. 1-877-Doc-Daliah.
You're listening to Leaf Filter Radio, and the guru of gutter protection himself, Chris Coonahan, is here to take your most pressing leaf-related questions.
Hey, everybody, Chris here. I understand we have Ron on the line. Ron, where are you calling from?
Uh-oh. Ron, are you calling from a ladder?
Well, I was. I wanted to ask Chris what I need to do to get my gutters ready to have Leaf Filter installed.
Oh, Ron, you don't have to do anything. A Leaf Filter Trusted Pro will come out and clean out your gutters, realign and seal your gutters, and install Leaf Filter, America's #1 gutter protection system.
So I didn't need to get on this ladder?
Ron, Leaf Filter Trusted Pros are in your neighborhood and ready to help. Just visit leaffilter.com/day to schedule your free gutter inspection and get up to 30% off.
Thank goodness. What was that site?
That's leaffilter.com/day for your free gutter inspection today. See representative for warranty details. Promotion is 20% off plus a 10% senior or military discount. One discount per household.
Hey guys, it's Dr. Daliah. Fantasy football season is coming, but sadly, too many of you are taking the bench while the country takes part in one of the most exciting and lucrative industries out there. Don't know how to play? Well, huddle up and listen. Paul Kalikas and I have written a fantasy football pocket guide for beginners. This book walks you through the basics and shows you how simple and lucrative joining or creating a fantasy football team can be. Read our fantasy football pocket guide for beginners found on Amazon or follow the links on X and Facebook. That's Fantasy Football Pocket Guides for Beginners. Don't be left out.
At Hot Shot Secret, we share the science behind common diesel problems. For example,
diesel fuel cetane levels.
The cetane rating in diesel fuel is 42 to 45. Most diesel engines operate more efficiently with a cetane rating of 48 to 50. One treatment of Hot Shot Secret Diesel Extreme will raise your cetane 7 points, increase fuel economy, and improve cold starts.
Hot Shot Secret Diesel Extreme is available nationwide at truck stops, fine farm and auto stores, and online at hotshotsecret.com. Hot Shot Secret, powered by science.
Let's face it, guys, we're living in times where the truth is becoming more suppressed and censorship is increasing at an alarming rate, especially on social media platforms. It's Clyde, and I want to tell you about a safe and secure digital playground we put together just for you. It's aftermath.media. You get access to thousands of Ground Zero archives and podcasts, along with our private social media groups with your basic membership starting at only $7 a month. Each subscription includes tech support, access to the RSS feeds, along with our own chat room and Telegram channel. In addition, the premium membership includes research study groups, webinars, a document and movie library, a live video stream of Ground Zero, a monthly Zoom chat with me, and other bonus content. Be sure to check out our yearly specials as well. Sign up today while you're thinking about it. Sign up at aftermath.media. Again, that's aftermath.media.
We are back on the Dr. Daliah Show. Thank you all for tuning in. 1-877-Dr. 1-877-DOCDALI. Big thanks to Talk Media Network for making the show happen. Big thanks to Daniel, our producer. And big thanks to you all for tuning in. We really do appreciate it. Don't forget to follow us on Twitter or X at Dr. Daliah, Facebook, The Dr. Daliah Show, YouTube. Click like and subscribe. And if you ever miss a show, go to drdaliah.com. Have you ever been in a relationship where you thought your significant other would kill you? Now, you would think this would be just something out of Hollywood, but it's not. We have heard of multiple cases where people are in a relationship and they end up leaving this earth because of the person they trusted and lived with and chose to have a life with. And I don't think we have this conversation enough about, could you possibly be talking yourself out of saving your own life and getting the heck out of that relationship? I'm reading a little bit about this case where Jennifer Gledhill was arrested in early October, 42 years old, after her husband, Matthew Johnson, vanished. She was later charged with his murder. Police claim the mom of three opened fire on him as he slept at their $1 million Cottonwood Heights home, a suburb of Salt Lake City, then dumped his body in a shallow grave. I think the parents are now charged with being accessories to cleaning up the site. And so allegedly, she killed her husband after he accused her of an affair during an argument. And when you look at this and like with the Menendez brothers killing their parents, allegedly, Gabby Petito, the Gabby Petito case is now on Netflix. Gabby Petito was the woman who was on I think she was doing like a cross country trip with her boyfriend and was strangled to death by her fiance. This is her fiance. These aren't just random hookups. Brian Laundrie. They were doing a cross-country trip. They were in Wyoming, and she ends up dying as a result of who she trusted. And we don't talk about this. Now, there was and I Love Lucy episode. We spoke about this years ago, where Lucy thought Ricky wanted to kill her. And Ricky is just overwhelmed by this, and he goes to Fred. And Fred's like, that's common. Every woman, at some point in their marriage thinks their husband wants to kill them, and the majority of them are right. And they made a big joke about it and all that. And I'm watching this as a kid. But is that true? Do most people go through relationships where they think their spouse could turn around and murder them in their sleep? Well, that's frightening. No wonder the younger generation doesn't want to get married. No wonder they're like, to hell with this. Why would I have somebody in my bed when I'm the most vulnerable? Look, we'll hook up, we'll do whatever, but I'm going to sleep in my own place with the door locked, and I'm not giving you the key. Are we really at the point where this is a lot more common, and people have to be aware that somebody they're with could later murder them? Wasn't there a doctor, this happened a couple years ago, where she broke up with somebody, and then he met her in the parking lot of the hospital and killed her? We choose people to date because we're attracted to them. We find something attractive, and then something gives us the ick, or something turns us off, or makes our spidey sense, alert, and we, may end it. And that could be some of the most dangerous moments in those two people interacting, the rejection. And so you almost, when you need to find somebody, or when you do find somebody, need to actually stop and look at, is this somebody where if things go bad, it could go really bad? With anybody I dated, I was always pretty, maybe it was because of the whole O.J. Simpson thing, where Ron Goldman gets killed, as well as Nicole Simpson, allegedly by O.J. Simpson, who apparently did not like them dating, or whatever the alleged motive was. I always wanted to make people feel secure that, look, if this doesn't work out, it doesn't work out. No big deal. But some people have such mental illness that they will take things to another level. If I can't have you, nobody could have you. If you're going to leave me, then you're going to leave this earth. I mean, who knows what they're thinking? This woman was allegedly the one cheating. Her husband accuses her, and then he gets killed. They had 3 beautiful children. It's just frightening. Absolutely frightening. And so do we have to now educate people on homicide prevention? If you're in a relationship, we know domestic violence is at an all-time high. We know that we have to have shelters, and we have to have abilities for people to leave. And they feel like it'll be worse if they leave, or they have kids that are going to get the brunt of it, so they're afraid to leave, and they don't know how to leave. And we try to support them and seek them out and provide. But sadly, this isn't something that we have a good infrastructure for. And I think there's a lot of individuals out there that really fear leaving their partner. They think, if I left my partner, it would be hell. We spoke about this with divorces. I think we would have a much higher divorce rate, but you have a lot of individuals who look at what a divorce would be like, and it would be so horrible, so expensive, so traumatizing, that they're like, you know what? I think it's easier to just make this work. And I see these individuals depressed, anxious. Every time somebody calls asking for an antidepressant or a medicine for anxiety, I ask them about their job. Oh, I love my job. I ask them about the relationship. Oh, yeah, it's okay. It's good. Really? Talk to me about it. You can only do so much with medications to get you through a relationship that you like and love. Now, I don't want everybody leaving their spouse or leaving their partner or because they're now paranoid about this. But I also don't want to see any more people die or get hurt because they're with somebody in the most vulnerable state and in the most vulnerable setting. And I don't know if we really prepare ourselves. I remember one of my friends was joking how he trained his daughter to martial arts, know how to use a weapon, so that when she dates, she lets them know, I could defend myself. But how do you do that? How do you start in a relationship? How do you get out of a relationship? How do you pick up the warning signs? So the warning signs we've spoken about. If they act violence, if they threaten you, if they look like they go from 0 to 90 with a drop of a hair, right? If they look very impulsive, if you've seen them be violent, you need to think about this relationship, and you need to think about if it could ever turn on you. We always think, well, they love me. They love me. Sometimes that love, the individuals who are loved are the ones who are the most hurt. Look at domestic violence with kids and child abuse. Most parents have deep emotional love for their kids, but these psychotic, mentally ill parents who beat their child are projecting that passion for their kid into hate. And they take it out on them. And they're abusive and they're domineering and they should be in jail. Now, kids oftentimes don't have a lot of recourses, which we need to work on. But if you're an adult and you're at all in a relationship where you think you can, you can possibly be hurt, you have got to get out of there. Go to the police, go to a family member, go to a shelter, and I understand people are, they're afraid that they're going to wake up the sleeping giant. Listen, that sleeping giant's going to be woken up. They always wake up. For domestic violence hotline, you could text BEGIN to 88788. That's BEGIN, BEGIN. Text it to 88788. You could also call 1-800-799-7233. But, speak to somebody. Find out, if the red flags or your spidey sense is right and what you need to do to protect yourself. 1-877-DOC-DALIAH.
At Hot Shot Secret, we share the science behind common diesel problems and their solutions. For example,
diesel fuel cetane levels.
in many states, the cetane rating in diesel fuel is 42 to 45. Most diesel engines operate more efficiently with a cetane rating of 48 to 50. One treatment of Hot Shot Secret Diesel Extreme will raise your cetane 7 points, increase fuel economy, and improve cold starts. Due to a cleaner burn, there are less hydrocarbons and particulate matter in your exhaust. This reduces the blockage of your diesel particulate filter. Using Diesel Extreme generates 83% less DPF regenerations. The 6-in-1 Diesel Extreme formula also includes the most concentrated detergent on the market, lubricity enhancer, water demulsifier, rust and corrosion inhibitors, and a fuel stabilizer.
Hot Shot Secret Diesel Extreme is available nationwide at truck stops, fine farm and auto stores, and online at hotshotsecret.com. Hot Shot Secret, powered by science.
Dr. Daliah Show. Thank you all for tuning in. 1-877-DOC-DALIAH, 1-877-DOC-DALI. Don't forget to follow us on Twitter at X, Dr. Daliah Show on Dr. Daliah, or Dr. Daliah, just Dr. Daliah, and you'll find us. Okay, so we talk about things on the show that a lot of people don't talk about. And we will go there when we have to go there. And a concern a lot of seniors have is the following. They're older, getting up in age. They may have amassed a small amount of money that would be inherited by their children if they leave this earth, or maybe they don't have money. And they fear that if they do become hospitalized or incapacitated, that their family is going to be quick to pull the plug. Now, older individuals, people always say, oh, my grandma or my grandpa is getting paranoid. They're thinking we're going to kill them or we're going to let them go. And it is a thought that happens to older individuals. And the reason why this happens is many people have very strained relationships with their loved ones. There's a lot of frustration. Sadly, when people age, there's a lot of work that goes into caretaking. And the older individual will very logically think to themselves that the younger family members would be better off if they are gone. It's a frightening thought, but it's a thought that a lot of seniors have. And I can't tell you how many patients I've spoken to going, do you have family nearby? And I had one patient tell me, no, I'm not going to call my family because they're going to have them pull the plug. I don't want my family knowing. I'd rather strangers take care of me so I get out of the hospital. What a frightening thought to think that you having family would, choose to accelerate your passing. But sadly, they're hearing situations where, let's say, one of their buddies goes to the hospital. The nurse or the doctor comes out saying, look, we could take care of them, but this is going to be chronic. This is going to be recurrent, and they're going to be suffering. We could make a decision together, to help end their suffering and not maybe put them on the machine or not put them on the ventilator or not, induce the coma. And there's a lot of family members who are like, well, I don't want them to suffer. So, yeah, don't do it. So seniors are hearing these things going, well, is this going to happen to me? If I'm incapacitated, how do I make my own decisions? Well, it's a very simple fix. It's called a living will. You complete a living will when you're of sound mind that puts your requests in writing and puts your requests on paper legally. Now, I know a lot of seniors are like, but I'm not going to find it. I'm not going to have it. How do I show the hospital that? What if family or people say, oh, yeah, there isn't one, so just do not resuscitate and let them go? Then what I recommend to everybody is if you do your living will, and basically with the living will, it used to be a lot simpler. Now it's a little bit more complicated. They're giving you more choices. So you need to sit down with somebody who can explain those choices, either a doctor, an attorney, etc., where we will do CPR and we will try to keep you alive if this is something that could be reversible. We will continue pain medication. We will not withdraw food and nutrition. Or there's a do not resuscitate where just if you think I'm gone, let me go. There's a lot of options. There's also lines where you could add, if you don't think the choices in the living will relate to you, there are lines where you could actually say, well, this is what I want. I want you to do full court press, but if I'm going to be in a coma for 3 months or 4 months, let me go. And so a lot of seniors are concerned that family members are going to be financially devastated and are going to be so concerned about the hospital bills that they'll say, you know what, let's just end this quickly. So you as a senior need to have a conversation with the family, all right? Because you need to calm your fears down. Your family loves you. Number two is you have to have this living will. You also need to give that copy to your doctor. You could give it to local hospitals. In fact, I think most states now have a means where you could upload it so hospitals can download it and now have that in case you come in as a Jane Doe or a John Doe and you're in an accident. They don't know who you are because you don't have identification on you. And then once they do identify you, they could get you living will. But you need to involve as many people that take care of you in your care. so that you don't feel like there's somebody who really, really wants your bank account in your family that's going to be counting the minutes till you leave this earth. And it shouldn't be like this, but the fact that seniors are concerned about it, and I've heard stories, no wonder they're a little nervous about that. Now, we also recommend the living will because we don't want you in a coma for 2 years. If you are brain dead, God forbid, and you're not going to make it, that is so draining, 1, on your body, 2, on your family, 3, financially on the hospital. So, have a very frank conversation. Now, this used to be not much of an issue because your physician would take care of you in the office and in the hospital. So your doctor would be the one that took care of all this. So you would see your doctor for a condition and say, look, if I'm in the hospital, this is what I want. You'd give the doctor your recommendations, and that doctor would then take it with them when they would go and take care of you in the hospital. But now it's different. Your doctor that you see in the clinic rarely goes to the hospital now and rarely takes care of you. So it's a complete stranger. It's a hospitalist and a really good. It's smart how they've done this. Where now people who are really, really good at the hospital and really good at hospital medicine are the ones taking care of you there, as opposed to somebody who is being completely torn between their ambulatory clinic and the hospital and not having enough time or sleep because they're up all night with calls. So it makes sense that now the duties are divided. But you would have your regular doctor make sure they talk to that hospitalist group. The problem is many of you don't have a regular physician. You keep hopping between doctors. You don't have a regular provider. So that starts to make you feel antsy. What we did with our living will is we were concerned that our sons would be overwhelmed by what's going on and that they might not know what the right decision would be and panic. Well, I don't want them to suffer, but do we do full court press? So what we did on our living will is we included a couple really, really close friends of ours who are also physicians, such that they can help them make a decision. So if somebody says, oh yeah, Daliah's a goner, look at how pale she is. Well, my friends are like, she always looks like that. Okay, she's got like no melanin. Okay, trust me. All right, that's her normal look. She's not dead. So we had we have a couple physicians that are close friends on our living will, such that if the family is struggling to come up with what do we do, or also they could take a look and go, look, I understand, you're in a different hospital, and let's. Let me take a look and see if there is still hope or not. So if you're a senior and you're concerned, you could put your best friend on there. Now, keep in mind, if you become enemies with that person, you're going to want to get them off that living will as soon as possible. So make sure these are individuals that you have really solid relationships with and you're close to. And talk to the family. Talk to the family about what's going on. And talk to them about the inheritance, if there is one. Now, with my family, our family was always poor, so there really was never an inheritance. So, my family doesn't have to worry about that. God forbid they leave. But say, look, I don't want you to think that any money you guys would be able to use for your livelihood is going to have to go to my medical care. But let's talk about this because I don't want to leave this earth sooner than I have to. 1-877-DOC-DALIAH. Don't go away.
Carl Amari here to tell you about our newest website for old-time radio lovers. It's 100radioshows.com. At this site, there are 5 old-time radio shows waiting for you to download free as our gift to you, and be sure to browse the additional 700 old-time radio shows available to you for 70% off by using the promo code RADIO at checkout. This is a limited-time offer, so log on to 100radioshows.com. That's 100radioshows.com.
Have you ever thought you'd like to buy and sell houses but didn't know how or where to get the money? My name is Ron LeGrand, and over the past 40 years, I've bought over 3,000 houses without using my money or credit and taught thousands to do the same. Today, even in a virtual environment, we buy nice houses in nice neighborhoods using no banks, realtors, contractors, or other costly entanglements, and build huge cash flow and wealth without the hassle of tenants, all without credit and little or no money. You don't need a license or experience, and I'll show you exactly how it's done. Text FREE to 99799, and I'll send you my free training. I promise you I'll change the way you think about real estate and open the door to a new lifestyle that doesn't involve risk or rehabs and can quickly replace your current income. Text FREE to 99799 and let me show you how to take your life back and build cash flow and wealth from your home. That's FREE to 99799. Again, FREE to 99799.
As an organ donor, your story doesn't have to end. The good in you can live on. In fact, you could save up to 8 lives and restore sight and health for many more. Sign up right now online as an organ, eye, and tissue donor. You'll be happy you did, and just maybe someone else will be happy too. Go to organdonor.gov. It saves lives. U.S. Department of Health and Human Services, Health Resources and Services Administration.
We are back on the Dr. Daliah Show. Thank you all for tuning in. 1-877-Dr. 1-877-DOCDALI. So one thing that I kind of am a little concerned about is I'll get these patients where they have multiple drug allergies. I had a patient this weekend, allergic to sulfa, allergic to penicillin, allergic to cephalosporin, allergic to the ciprofloxacins or the floxacins, allergic to, and the list went on. And I'm like, well, if I have to treat you, let's see what you actually have. Let's confirm, because I don't want to give you something that you're going to be allergic to, and I can't. And maybe you don't need an antibiotic. But if you do, we have to figure something out. And I am blown away at how many people think they're allergic to a medicine who aren't. Now, I'm not saying if you have a drug allergy right now, you're allergic. If you think you're allergic to the medicine, you're allergic. I remember being able to take sulfa as a kid, and then as an adult, whoa, it was crazy what happened to me. It looked like I was getting petechiae bleeding underneath the skin. I was urinating black. It was some scary stuff. So sulfa, I'm sorry, I'm not taking sulfa. And in fact, I told my kids, don't take sulfa. My mom's allergic to sulfa. I'm allergic to sulfa. It's our kryptonite. Okay, Mom. See, they understand that. It's our kryptonite. If I say it's bad, they'll do it. But if I say kryptonite, they're like, ooh, okay, then I can't do it. It's like Thanos's flip of the wrist and his, oh, okay. Thank you for the Thanos analogy, Mom. I got it now. And so when I ask patients, I go, okay, you're allergic to penicillin. What does it do? Well, they go, I get a rash. Are they truly allergic to penicillin? And this is starting to become an issue because we have such a demand for non-penicillin antibiotics. And because there's like a 20% cross-reactivity with the cephalosporins, many of us doctors will avoid the cephalosporins as well. So now somebody who says they're allergic to penicillin can't get 2 powerful classes of medication. Yet I had a patient this weekend who said, I'm allergic to penicillin. And I'm going, okay, what antibiotics can you take? They said, well, I could take Augmentin. Augmentin is amoxicillin in the penicillin family plus clavulanic acid. I go, so you can't take penicillin, but you could take amoxicillin clavulanic acid. Why? What's your penicillin allergy? I don't know. My mom says I'm allergic. So we have millions of people who think they're allergic to something and they won't, and they don't know. And so they avoid it. And now they're starting to narrow down their choices. One issue that I had told you guys years ago that I think might have happened is many of these kids didn't have a bacterial infection, but they had a viral infection. And with viral infections, the rash may come on a couple days after the fever. So parents bring the kid in saying they need amoxicillin or ampicillin or whatever. They got a sore throat. They may have ear pain. Then they get a rash 2 or 3 days later. Was it the virus that they had where it just erupted? Or was it the antibiotic that they took? So when I hear that a kid got a rash from the antibiotic, it could be an allergy, but it might not have been. The other thing, too, is we used to give a big shot of penicillin. For some people, that might have been too much. And so we used to give a 1-shot dose of penicillin, and then you'd be covered. Now, by the time I was in training, they start to phase that out. We wouldn't just give kids 1 big shot of penicillin. But there are many individuals that are older, the baby boomers, who said they got sick from penicillin. They got sick because they got such a big boost of a shot, a dose, 10,000 units, then yes, that might have been a reaction to the shot or the preservative in it. So my concern is we have many people who think they're allergic, millions of Americans who think they're allergic to a very powerful class of antibiotics. In fact, I was doing my infectious disease rotation at UCLA in the 90s, right before I graduated. And infectious disease in UCLA, the majority of the patients had HIV. You know, I thought I would be seeing more elephantiasis or trichomoniasis or other things, but the majority, so I got to learn a lot of HIV medicine. Well, we had one patient who had syphilis. And syphilis, usually the first line treatment is penicillin. Well, this gentleman he had neurosyphilis, so he had severe syphilis. So what we had to do was give him penicillin. He was allergic, but they gave him Benadryl and steroids so he wouldn't react to the penicillin, because penicillin was the main line to treat his neurosyphilis. We got him better. But I remember the attending saying, I don't care if he's allergic to penicillin. We got to save this guy's life. And so I think we're using the allergy denotation maybe a little too liberally without verifying. And I'm of the mindset, for those of you where it wasn't that obvious, can we verify it? Well, we can. An allergist could test. We could do patch testing. We could do trial testing. There's ways to test if you're allergic to penicillin. And it's not that I want millions of Americans to go and run and go get tested. But if you didn't have difficulty, so a true allergy could be anywhere from you having a rash to you going into full-blown anaphylaxis, tongue swelling, lip swelling, difficulty breathing, going into shock and dying. And your early allergies could just be a simple rash. And then the 4th or 5th or 17th time you're exposed, it becomes a worse allergy. So we still take penicillin rashes as possible allergies very seriously. But my worry is I'm seeing a lot of misdiagnosis. I'm having patients call up, say, my kid is allergic to the antibiotics they gave him. And I go online and I see what the other online doctor did. And I'm like, well, maybe this is a virus. Maybe that's where the rash is coming from. So we need to figure out if the kid's rash is the antibiotic or the virus. I've gotten pretty good at determining a penicillin allergy rash. It's very, very blotchy. It's widespread. But some viruses can still do the same. I can't say I'm 100% sure. Now, if you verified that the person had strep, you verified they had an ear infection, you verified that there could have been a bacterial issue, right? Then that also kind of lends credence to you might be allergic. But if it's somebody calling online saying, yeah, my kid's ear hurts. All right, here's an antibiotic. Well, how do you know? Even COVID can cause ear pain. So my concern is, as these other antibiotics are starting to grow resistance, and boy, are we getting a lot of resistance, I want us to go back to old school if the patient can handle it. Now, do not try it on your own. Never. If you think you're allergic, right now you're allergic until proven otherwise. And doctors are going to also take that path, because we just spoke about lawsuits. Nobody's going to want to give you a medicine you could be allergic to. But if you're one of these people where you seem to be allergic to everything, you really should see an allergist and find out if these are true allergies, if there's something that can make you less atopic and less susceptible to allergies, and to figure out what actually you can take. It really kills me when I have a patient that says, well, I really can't take anything because I'm allergic to everything. that I don't want them dying of sepsis. I don't want them having to be immunocompromised just so we can get the antibiotic into them. So we really do need to we really do need to break this down. Penicillin allergies are preventing a lot of good, solid treatment. And we have a lot of penicillin overuse, Z-Pak overuse, Cipro overuse, doxycycline. See, now I'm seeing everybody use doxycycline. The problem with doxycycline is you're really not supposed to use that if you are pregnant or if you don't know if you're pregnant. So we're seeing a lot of people on that antibiotic. And, did we make sure you were pregnant first? So don't take anything you're allergic to. But if all you had was a mild rash, maybe get that reconfirmed with a doctor, medical provider. 1-877-DOC-DALIAH.
Can you believe, with all the recent violent protests, looting, and destruction, some areas are considering either defunding or abolishing the police? At a time when America's neighborhoods need the protection of police the most, some elected officials would rather create more chaos by playing politics. If you're sick of elected officials caving in to demands of the radical left, you're not alone. It's time we stand up and declare our support for local police. The majority of police officers are important partners in protecting our God-given rights. If you prefer freedom over chaos, then learn how you can help protect the local police that serve your community. Call today and request your free Support Your Local Police info packet. Dial 800-JBS-USA-1. That's 800-JBS-USA-1. Request your free Support Your Local Police info packet by calling 800-JBS-USA-1 today.